The lesson.
Oh yeah.
You've got a ton of stories over, your career as a DJ. As someone who's played in all these different places, clubs, countries, and whatever, what are some of your, for a variety of whatever reasons, what are some of your most memorable, whether it's sets or nights out or trips to certain places?
Ooh. There's so, wow. Okay, where do I begin?
Give me some standouts with and just there's no limits. It can be on anything.
Studio wise, being in a session with Fat Man Scoop, and just seeing that dude just wild out, right? And at the same time having Mr. Collie Park ring me, so I have to step out of that session and talk the Yin Yang Twins into tell them about the hook that I want them to sing for this record. So I'm jumping out of a Fat Man Scoop record session and into a FaceTime session with the Yin Yang Twins. Was just bizarre to me at this studio in LA called Record Plant, which is one of the best studios in LA. To me, that shit was pretty wild. Memorable sets and that, being on tour, doing some of the festivals in Australia has been crazy. Doing Stereosonic and Creamfields, just playing to a crowd of thousands, just like a sunset sort of set, and just having command over them sort of people, like a whole group of motherfuckers, and just wilding out, and then these blackout after parties, I don't know. I guess be more specific. What else?
Well, just before I ask you about these blackout after parties, how did the Fat Man Scoop situation all come about?
Scoop was Paul, the White Shadow. He was doing a record with Fat Man Scoop, and he wanted me in the session, so I came along, and we started writing, and the record came out. It was called Walk In, Fuck Shit Up, Leave. And that was just through my publisher. I was able to get into a session with Fat Man Scoop, so it was pretty dope.
Yeah, that's crazy. And then what about the Yin Yang Twins?
Yin Yang Twins came with Collie Park, who randomly hit me up on Twitter, actually, after the hearing Bend Over. It's crazy that I've worked with Pitbull, Little John, and the Yin Yang Twins, all separate, through separate connections, but they're all kind of connected as well. I was at John's house not long ago, and we were working on this record that me and him wrote the beat for, and it's got a Yin Yang Twins on it and Pitbull at the moment, So it's the three coming together. That was pretty crazy. Who knows if that record will ever happen, but that's what we do when we write. You just write and write and write. I've got a record that has Justin Bieber on it that we may not ever see. We might not ever see the light of day, but if it does, that'll be dope. But if not, it'll stay on my hard drive forever. I got one that I did with John that's got Chris Brown and Tiger on it, and again, that was when we were pitching for the Chris Brown Tiger album, and it just didn't make the cut because I didn't have a hook for it. It's just like a beat with verses. So it's just
that's
some crazy
wild,
shit.
How'd the Bieber situation come?
The Bieber came through Tay James, who's Bieber's DJ. I guess the powerful thing about being a DJ, and that's why DJ City is very powerful, and that was, going over to America as much as I did and meeting a bunch of DJs, it's the VIP pass to the whole industry, you know what I mean? Being friends and knowing Tay, it's not like knowing Bieber, but it's kind of it's the connection there, you know what I mean? If you've got something of value, when they're looking, when Bieber or any artist is looking for records, their DJ's on the hunt too. So the DJ will hit up a lot of the time, hit up all the producers they know, just give me beats, give me beats, give me beats, give me beats, give me beats. And then, because for a pop act, especially of that size, they'll have hundreds and hundreds of records, like that they'll either cut or be sent to them. Like people are demoing for years to pitch for these guys, and you know that's why like a lot of pop acts have really good albums and really diverse sort of albums, because you know they've got like this access to a world of music. You know, 200 records to pick 12 for an album, like. And that's how that kind of came about. We just submitted beats. Like I played Tay a bunch of shit. He took them into sessions, played them amongst with everyone else's stuff, and he liked a couple of the ones we did. So, yeah, we got a kind of a cut from it, an unfinished record.
And you were submitting jams for the last Tiger Chris Brown album.
Yeah, well, unintentionally actually. Me and John were writing beats, and we sent it out. I think we were going for Usher, because forever your label, your publishing companies, like these people are looking for music. So, you know, there's always someone looking for something. And so you're always sending things. And, you know, I think it went out to Usher's people, but then it got into the hands of another writer who took it into a session, and then someone else got their hands on the beat, took it to someone else, and then it ended up in a Chris Brown thing. The crazy thing about that is that me and John found out about them Chris Brown verses because Tay heard the record and then was like, wait a minute, I know this beat. Chronic's played me this beat. Showed me what he'd heard. I'm like, yeah, that's our beat. When did they have Chris Brown on it? And it's like, oh yeah, it's one of the records they've got in the bank for, you know, and that's just how it works. Like music just gets passed around constantly.
So you've got a copy of that?
Yeah.
So you've got copies of shit that's produced by you that has verses from Tiger and Chris Brown on them, and they're just sitting in your hard drive. What other crazy shit you got sitting in your hard drive?
That the Bieber stuff, some yin yang things. That's really all I can say. And then like a lot of Pitbull and Little John stuff, because we work quite closely on their shit.
That's crazy.
A few other artists, but some things you can't say. I can say the Bieber thing because he posted a little snippet of it on his Instagram. So, and that's where like I got a little bit of press from that too. People were like, "Whoa!"
Yeah, I've seen that.
Yeah, that's crazy. But I can talk about it because, you know, it's already out there. So, some things you got to keep under wraps. But yeah,
back to
blackouts.
Tell us some of these after party stories. This is what the fans want to hear.
Oh, what can I say that's like able to be said? A lot of wild nights. I like filming like crazy shit, you know. I'm a big fan of hotel parties, and I've had a lot of them. Australia has been wild for me, you know what I mean? Like the Gold Coast has been crazy. There, you know, many after parties of either club sets or hotel parties where, you know, we end up at like the penthouse at the Mantra or something in the Gold Coast, and just, you know, an abundance of drugs, women, and alcohol, and that's all I can tell you because that's all I can remember from a lot of them things, you know. I don't know. I love that. I love the party life too, you know. I love the filth. I love, yeah.
That's that southern. That's that.
Yeah,
southern
we all want to fucking go wild, you know. Yeah.
Do you have any party memories from back in the down south days?
Yeah, I remember like not specifics, but like house parties from back in the day, you know, down in Aldinga, down in Seaford and shit, you know, like where we would, you know, all the crew would just go to a house party, and it was always one person's house party, but it was everybody's house party. And, you know, we would always find a corner where the music's playing, and we'd either like, I'd take the decks, or we'd either like have the it wasn't even iPhones back then, like have the CDs, and we'd take over the sound system and just fucking, you know, control that little party. You know, we wanted to be in control of the music because we, you know, it was put the Kronic mixtape on or put the homies mixtape on and just fucking run amok.
Those mixtapes did real well back in the day, man.
Yeah, like
I think you really did it on a level here that nobody, like in Adelaide, that nobody did it.
Yeah, I felt like, Yeah, they did really well. Like the old jumper, I still get hit up to this day. Like, who, can I get some of your old mixtapes? And I did lots of them. I did like 20 of them, across like from when I started to when I sort of stopped, and it was. I'd love to do them again though, but it takes a lot of time, as you know. Like they were good because I spent months and months on end working on them. The wordplay, the picking the right records, making it flow. Like to me, it was like a movie. You know what I mean? It had to have an intro. It had to tell a story all the way through, and you couldn't just do that overnight. Like a radio mix I can do. A live set, you wing it because you're feeding off a crowd. But when you're trying to tell a story that people will listen to over and over again, it's like you're writing it down. It needs to be as good as you can make it. And I love the theory when it comes to creation of art, of like spending time on it. I'm not one. I made this in 2 hours. Nowadays it's like everyone's like, oh yeah, I wrote this song in 2 minutes. Well, the song's 4 minutes. How did you write it in 2 minutes? You know what I mean? It's like a bragging point. I don't feel like that's a bragging point. When you're fucking a girl, right? You're not like, yeah, I got it done in 2 minutes. No, you want to tell that time when you went all motherfucking night. And that's the same thing with music. Like, I want to, even if I come up with an idea like that, I want to sit on it and I want to see in a week's time, a month's time, if I still feel the same as when I wrote it. Because, do you know what I mean? Then it kind of lasts the test of time. And yeah, and that's what, I feel like that's why the mixtapes were good, because I really put time and effort into them.
Yeah, man. Like you said, people still hit you up for them today.
Yeah.
Didn't you eventually start getting cease and desist letters?
Oh yeah, I got it. Well, it's bootleg,
So first of all, just explain what a cease and desist letter is for those that don't know.
Well, it's when you do something that you're not meant to do, like a bootleg. So the label that owns the copyright of whatever you're stealing, they'll hit you up and you have to cease doing it and stop doing it, or they'll take legal action. So it's kind of like a warning, but like a legal warning before they can sue you. I was lucky enough not to get sued, but like at that time, I grew up listening to like DJ Rectangle mixtapes, DJ Motto, the Club Joint All Stars, that sort of stuff, the old Premiere stuff, Funk Flex mixtapes, 60 Minutes of Funk. That's one of my favorite albums, Volume 2. And like for example, like the rectangle mixtapes, you're aware of them. Like how we would flip like Attack of the Clones, like he'd do the Star Wars theme one or whatever. So that's what like my introduction to dance music as a mixtape DJ was like. Well, I'm gonna call it the Ministry of Kronic. Like, let's flip that. Like, I jacked the album cover and I put Kronic over it. It's like I treated that like a Ministry of Kronic. You know what I mean? Like, it was like what we did as battle DJs. And I had a bunch of records on there, and we printed out the CDs. It had like, it was the complete jack of a Ministry of Sound shit. And I gave them out and promoted them as a Kronic mixtape, and finally got the cease and desist for it. It was wrong, but that's hip hop. That's mixtape vibe. I stopped, and now I'm signed with them.
So you're actually signed to Ministry of Sound now?
I had a bit of a laugh with the owner of Moss Australia about it. It was still a bit of a touchy subject, and I apologized a lot, but yeah, it was funny kind of that happened. And now, I work closely with all the Ministry guys. They're all great.
That's dope.
I get what they mean though. Like I've sent cease and desist out to people that have jacked my shit. You're not mad at them. It just is what it is.
The last 2-7. Oh yeah.